This is part 2 of episode 5.
We're going to continue with the Apollo missions 1 through 5. Now, as some of you may recall, the Apollo 1 mission wasn't a success. There were 3 astronauts in it: Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee. The cabin was filled with 100% pure oxygen and at 17 psi. And at 17 psi, I think Velcro can ignite. And there were a lot of Velcro in there, but that wasn't the cause of the fire. There was a faulty wire in the back of, I think, Gus Grissom's seat, and so that sparked, igniting the cabin, and the astronauts couldn't get out because they had a huge latch door that was broken. And after examining the capsule thoroughly, they found several things wrong with it. One being that in the factory, somebody left their wrench inside the door, which may have been a cause of making it difficult to open. And also there was the faulty wire. So that'll always be a day to remember, I guess.
And that was the launch rehearsal test,
Yeah.
which was on January 27th of 1967, and the actual launch was planned for February 21st of 1967.
Now, Apollo 2 and 3 are kind of weird because they don't actually have the name Apollo 2 and Apollo 3. They were unmanned tests to test the liquid hydrogen in Earth's orbit, and they were doing suborbital flight tests for the heat shield at higher speeds. And so then moving on with Apollo 4, that was also unmanned, and it successfully demonstrated the SIVB third stage reset and test of the heat shield at the lunar reentry speed, just to make sure all that was good.
And that was on November 9th of 1967.
And so Apollo 5 was the first lunar module flight in Earth's orbit. Oh, sorry, and Apollo 4 was the first Saturn V launch. That was like the Saturn V test. And Apollo 5 tested the lunar module in Earth's orbit. It successfully fired the descent engines, and so that's pretty much what they wanted to see on that mission. So now we're through Apollo 1 through 5, so we're going to talk a little bit about the Saturn V rocket, because the Apollo 4 was the first use of the Saturn V rocket. Now, the Saturn V rocket was 300-something feet tall, right?
Was it feet or meter? Yeah, it was feet.
It was feet. And it was a 3-stage rocket. On the first stage, it had 700 million...
no, 7 million.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Not 700.
That would be 100 Gs.
7 million pounds of thrust on the first stage. And then on the second stage, it had 1 million pounds of thrust. And on the third stage,
it dropped to a quarter million.
Yeah, a quarter million pounds of thrust. And so it was a very powerful rocket, and it was the largest ever built. The Saturn V was a converted German war missile that Wernher von Braun proposed that NASA used to go to the moon. And so I think that will conclude this part of number 5, part 2.
Also, Apollo 5 was on January 22nd of 1968.
Yeah. And so come back for Apollo 6 through
9, I guess.
9 or 10. Okay, thank you.